to The Truth in This Art, your source for conversations connecting arts, culture, and community. These are stories that matter, and I am your host, Rob Lee, except no substitutes. Today, I am thrilled to welcome my next guest on to the program, an Egyptian-born, Washington, D.C.-based contemporary artist whose abstract paintings and sculptures explore themes of healing, transformation, memory, and resilience through layered surfaces and unconventional materials. My guest signs each work with the initials of her late father, the person who first recognized and nurtured her artistic journey. So joining me today in studio at Hotel Eden, here down in D.C., my guest is Dina AZ Salem. Welcome to The Truth in This Art.
Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this in person as well. I think it's I won't say better, but it's a different experience doing the conversation in person. It's more of a sort of a connective thing. You get to see how sweaty I was when I was walking over here. I was like, she is going to see me at my sweatiest. This is the rawest podcast you'll have. But
you look fine.
Well, thank you. But to start off these conversations, I always like to let the guests introduce themselves in their own words. I think that I can do a very heavy and weighty, taking a script from off the website. It's like, I just type this in and this is the intro. But I would love it for you to tell us who you are, what you do, and what's important for the listeners to know about you.
Sure. First of all, my name is Dina AZ Salem, and I can talk later about why I have AZ in the middle. I was born and raised in Egypt, in Alexandria, not this Alexandria, Virginia, the real one.
That's good.
Yeah, and I am like contemporary artist. I do a lot of painting. Recently, I'm adding more sculpture to my practice. I explore like more healing, transformation, and like memory and resilience in my work. I use a lot of texture, layering, rebuilding materials. There's some interesting materials, some like very normal material. Like I try to mix the kind of material that I use. My idea about material, they carry memory, and I want them to actually communicate emotion and experience. And then they don't always have words. So we're going to go further into that. So you gave us a little bit of a tease. I like that. So go back a little bit. What was it like? You mentioned the real Alexandria, right? Yeah. So, this is because people, when I usually say I'm from Alexandria, like in Virginia, they're like, no, the real one in Egypt, the main one.
What is it? Have you heard of the two Manhattans here? And you have like New York Manhattan, and then there's like one in Kansas.
I heard about that a little bit.
And it's like Kansas. Yeah, we're the little apple. It's like, I'm from real Manhattan, I'm from the real New York. What is that?
Yeah, exactly. This is how I feel. Yeah. The first library in the world was in Alexandria. So.
Okay, humble brag. It's like, yes. Just, books and history and libraries and such.
Yeah.
So growing up in Alexandria, how does this aspect within your background, like of your stories, this is where stories matter, right? How does that continue to inform your work?
Alexandria is a very small city in Egypt, and it's very beautiful, and it's literally on the Mediterranean, and also have a lot of different history. And if you walk around, there's a lot of texture, there's a lot of like beauty that you don't see in a lot of places in Egypt. Like Alexandria is so different from Cairo. You don't find pyramid, you don't find this kind of like energy. You find it's very calm, and people very happy, very chill. And what I love, the whole Alexandria is just literally 3 main streets. Yeah, and it's simple, and I love that. But at the same time, it's very fast. So I also like this is part of like didn't have time to even explore a lot of stuff in my life when I was living there, because you just try to survive. It's too fast, and It's very crowded at the same time. But it's full of life. Yeah.
So having perhaps that sort of fast pace, does that inform how you go about like making work and making moves down here? Because DC, where we're at, right? when I come down here, I always talk about it. I'm like, I'm from Baltimore. I've been in these different spots. It's like the pace is different. I notice when I go up to Philly, I'm walking a bit faster. I was like, why is that happening? When I'm down here, I'm walking a bit faster. So do you think that sort of pace kind of was an easy adjustment?
Absolutely. Like even I was there like last month, it's just too fast to be able to keep up. And it's like people are in survival mode. So this is interesting when you see two different places living the same period but have different perspective and surviving so different from each other. And make you appreciate being here, make me appreciate a lot of stuff that I used to have back home and also vice versa. But it's like affected me because back there you just experience life. You don't have opportunity to sit down and try to understand what is happening with you, why you interact with this specific way, why you have this reaction, why you are the way you are. It's just like you're on survival mode all the time because the country is like, we have no time for anyone. Right. You just have to keep going. And it makes me stronger in a way. And I see that my work more is like, I never was interested in why stuff happening. I was interested after the effect afterwards. I'm always like, and another thing is like, make you also understand that identity is never fixed. It's always evolving. Yeah. So I feel like living in two places make me evolve way more than if I stayed in one place. And this has actually benefited me a lot in my work. Sure. I don't think if I stayed in Egypt, I would create the same style of work at all.
So going back, you mentioned something I thought was kind of interesting, the sort of almost retrospective, reflective nature that's there of like, I'm not really concerned about the why. And I was like, what's the response afterwards? What is the, I don't like this word, but you overlaid, the impact. What is the ROI here? ROE, return on emotions here. That sounds terrible.
No, I mean, more for me is like transformation. So there's a series I created called Imperfect. I was emphasized is like not necessary when you transform to something else, it's gonna be bad. Not necessarily because you went through something difficult and you trying to transfer and go to the other side. This is like bad, like you have a scar because you went through something, a surgery because you need it. You survived that. Sure. So this is interesting. How this make you feel? Yeah. Like how when you look at this scar make you feel? And after that is like, I feel the most beautiful discovery and interesting discovery we find when we fall is actually happen more like if your life have no event and it's completely boring and you're doing the same thing every day, you will never discover anything.
There's no opportunity for adversity and growth. There is, people throw this around the whole stoicism thing. And I think there's certain people, certain cultures about to do that, or certain communities, it's like, I've always dealt with hard stuff. This is light.
Yes, and exactly.
Yeah, you have that capacity built up. And before I move into this next question, it makes me think of, I did this talk with some folks that gave me some money. They're like, here's some money. Tell your little stories with black and brown people. I was like, cool, let's do it. And one of the things that I share, because I'm never really good at those things, but I try to lean on being honest. That's what gives me the most, it makes it easier for me. And one of the things that I shared is this money not only enabled me to make the work that I was curious about making, but also build capacity that I can extend and do more. So as I was sharing with you before we got started, that I'm used to doing a lot of content, a lot of episodes, a lot of conversations. So when I'm doing like less, I'm like, this seems a lot easier. I've already have the experience of doing that year when I mentioned doing 18 in a week.
Yeah,
it was 322 that year though.
Yeah.
So I already have that as I've experienced that. I got through that, and I'm not thinking of, damn man, I'm at episode 200. This is so hard. I'm like, after experiencing that full scope, yeah, I can always do that again. I'm not going to, but I can always do that again.
Yes, you know that you're capable of doing this, and this is good for us to even have that belief that we can do hard stuff, because this is one of the reasons keep you going. But what you gain, you have a beautiful experience, so that's why I'm sure your podcast now is so different from the one you did, like the first one. Yes. This is experience make difference.
One could argue it's gotten worse. It's just like, this guy just talks now. All he does is talk. He gets on these tangents. He starts talking about cartoons too much. I'm like, what are you saying? I have so many good guests. Yeah, they're great. You're not. No. Self-deprecating, that's what I do. So moving into this sort of like this next question, you referenced it a bit in your introduction. So let's talk about your dad a bit.
Yeah.
So your dad is a part of your art story. Your father's a part of your art story. It's even in how you sign your paintings and all. And he encouraged your artistic journey, and he's included in your works. You sign each piece with his initials. So, if you will, what was his name? What is his name? And when did that inclusion start within your work?
So to start, like I have been painting my whole life since I was maybe 4 or 5 years old. And my mom, actually, the reason she discovered that I was a very hyperactive kid. I always need something. I need my hand to be busy to calm me down. And my mom started to give me a lot of craft and stuff like to do during summertime. And I started to paint, and I found this was the most peaceful and beautiful thing, and make me calm, and I can do it for hours. Then I discovered that. So my father used to sit next to me and see me drawing and painting, and he always very fascinating. My dad is like, he's an accounting, and he's very smart. He never used calculator in his life. This is how smart he is. So yeah, he's like, for him, have a creative child, he found this is so beautiful, and so he just sit next to me and just watch me. Then eventually, when I got a little bit better, he started to buy my painting for like very small amount, but this is part of him like trying to encourage me to do more. Yeah. And I was doing this for a couple of years, and he was like really very supportive. Whatever I need, he said like, I will do it for you. Then I was like 9 years old, and I had to visit him in his office. My dad was like the CFO of a big company in Egypt, so I was like, he's a big deal. Like, and you go in there, everyone's scared of him. And I'm like, yeah, like it's a big deal. Like Ahmed Zaki, his name is Ahmed Zaki. That's why AZ. Then it's actually very famous actors in Egypt. His name is Ahmed Zaki, and everyone, I use the door of this.
I was looking this up. I was just like,
I don't know. I wish I had. Then I walked to his office, and I found like very serious old school office, like, and all my painting is hanging around. And usually I was obsessed with blue until today, like it's all like have the blue like main color in all my painting, and I'm like, Dad, you have my painting, and of course I'm so proud of you. Like I am really so fascinating with your talent. But unfortunately he passed when I was 12. So the journey stopped here for a long time. Unfortunately, I was not able to paint for a couple of years because I feel like the support that I used to have from him is gone and is affecting me in a way I didn't understand. I didn't know that I'm actually not painting. My mom noted that. Like, you didn't make any painting for a long time. Right. Then eventually, years goes, life was lifing, as we would say. It's just a saying. Then many years, and finally I found time and peace to connect again with my art. Literally 2 years before the pandemic.
So just in time.
Just in time. Then I didn't have any expectation. Then eventually, when people start to want to show me, I decide I want to dictate all this to my dad because he started that journey with me, and I want him to be part of this journey. So I found when I signed his name, is like, he's still with me somehow.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
And we were talking a little bit before we got started, and I produce another podcast I'm recording later. I'm doing a movie podcast, and it's a podcast where I revisit movies from my childhood. And and my dad was the sort of focal point of like, yeah, we're going to go to Blockbusters. We're going to get 5 action movies, make some popcorn. That was literally every Friday through like the 90s, right? And I once reviewed one of my favorite movies with my dad, and he's a veteran, all of this different stuff, right? Just sort of like tough, old school black guy from like the mid 50s or what have you. And it was a full circle moment, sort of deepening that memory of, yeah, remember when we watched Van Damme in this movie? This is the one where he's playing twins, Double Impact from 1991, see? Memory. And I just remember him sitting there with me. He was like, yeah, man, Van Damme was crushing it. And it's like, he likes it, he supports it. He's like, I am out of my depth, but I like rocking with you here. And it was just like a really cool moment. Absolutely not my best episode of that particular podcast, but it's definitely a very memorable one, and it adds to the memory of watching that movie each time after, right?
Yeah.
So do you have like a favorite memory when you think of it? Is it that visit to the office and seeing your work there?
Exactly, absolutely. The visit to the office was something I would never forget, because I never visited him before in his office. Yeah. My dad is so serious. My dad is like very Arabian, old-fashioned father. Like literally, if he put the key in the door, we have to run for our lives. This is how I'm not coaching. I'm not kidding. And we're not allowed to watch TV during school time. Like my dad is very strict, but also he's so much fun. He bores, yeah. So, and I'm grateful to this, because this is built me in a very specific way and very unique. My dad was very unique. Yes.
That's great. I mean, when you mentioned the memories, like never used a calculator, I was like, I'm good with numbers. I always use a calculator. Like make sure that math is right.
No, he never used calculator all his life.
That's fine.
And he was CPA.
Like I said, that's fine.
Yeah. He was very. That's why he always and he was colorblind. So this was very interesting. We had 3 girls, and he only take me when he go clothes shopping, because he cannot see the colors.
It's like, Dad, I don't know about that one. Did you know what? Actually, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good scene. It's like, so I was told by my coworkers that I'm wearing like this red suit. Or blue suit, because you mentioned blue.
Yeah. So like he can see like only 3-4 colors. I remember and it was very interesting how to go shopping with him. It's like, Dina, what's the color? This is like, okay, Dad, this is blue. This is this. And this is very interesting.
I could almost see like one of those things where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna buy this piece of art from you, right? It's like, yeah. Now, I'm doing this in my head. I'm not sure about your rate's kind of gone up a little bit, daughter. How does that work it out? Dad, as I grow, I get these more experiences. You're having that pre-art market conversation. That's fantastic.
Yeah, like my dad never also treat me like a child, never a day. So I love that, and he always deal with me like an adult. Yeah,
that's really good, because like I don't have any kids, and whenever I talk with my nephews or anyone, I literally it's just like we're on the same level. Like I'm just older than you, and I have a responsibility of. If something happens, I got to take care of you. But for the most part, it's just like, we're on the same page. So I'm going to teach you how to cook. I'm going to teach you these different things. Yeah. And it's almost like, this is going to be so nerdy before I move to this next question. It's almost like being like one of these like anime. He's like, you're going to come to the master and I'm going to put you on. It's like, teach me the ways of podcasting. Yes. Your mic's not on, right? So fix that. Well, I thought you were going to let me go easy. No. You got to fix it. There's a job to do here. You got to learn these skills.
Yeah. I always tell my nieces, I'm gonna guide you, but I will never advise you. There's 2 differences. So.
That's important. That's super important, because I think sometimes folks get into this habit of, well, I've had these mistakes and I want you to avoid them. No, you got to learn from those mistakes. Like, if it's just like, depending on what the mistake is, it's like you shouldn't walk in front of that car right there. But some of the things that are, when it comes to, as we touched on a little bit earlier, building capacity and having sort of that scar, if you will, to learn something, that I think that lesson is a bit deeper and more embedded if you experience it yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Speaking of which, we're going to talk about a few of the themes.
Okay.
So seeing your work is described as a vehicle for healing, transformation, and self-discovery. Resilience also comes up. How does this investigation show up in your work? And I'm curious as to why sort of these themes? Is it a catharsis? Is it I want to exercise this. Talk about like why those themes and why are you investigating it through your work?
First thing is I'm usually look at healing and perfection and texture as the tools.
Sure.
But what I'm more interested in is like how do we become someone new without losing who we were? Mm-hmm. Because even if I use sand, for example, like as a texture, I'm building a piece. Mm-hmm. I can change it. I can shift it. I can completely make it something different, but it's still sand. Like sand is still there.
It's gritty.
Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. This is how we are. Like I'm interested in how we become something new, but still connected what we used to be. Because it doesn't mean you went through something bad or a big life event that you have to change completely who you are.
Sure.
You have to learn how to adjust. And this is the theme start from this. I went through a lot of adjustment in my life, and I feel like I'm doing very well with change. I don't do well with loss, and I feel both are different. Sure. Yeah, and change because it's like, I think this is coming from where I used to live. Like I grew up in Egypt, and it's like change is constant. And I feel like moving here was a big change also. So I feel like I was doing very well and I adjusted every stage of my life very well, as much as I can. Some stuff like I didn't do well, but I'm learning and moving on. What's good about me, I don't look back. Like whatever happened, I cannot change it.
Right.
What I can change is like what happened to me now. Don't want to keep that change, don't want to still to change that change. And this have been also a thing that I have been thinking a lot, why I am the way I am and why some stuff I cannot get rid of it.
Right.
Then I come with a piece, some stuff I don't want to get rid of it because it's part of my identity that I like, that's why I'm keeping it. So the part that, it's not that I don't like, sometimes it doesn't serve me well now.
Sure.
It used to serve me well like maybe when I was younger. And this started to hit me in a way like how I can translate all this feeling or emotion that I know is universal, like everyone going through something, and how to translate that in a painting or something that you visually can see and words cannot express. Then I found like that's why all this theme, this chart, like because every time I go through something, it's one thing is affecting me. Like part I was healing, part I was like very resilient to this change because I don't think it was good for me. Part is transformation that is changing me and less impact on me. It doesn't mean that I failed. Right. I actually transfer, I move with it. Okay. So it is good that I was able to adapt. One of the things that always fascinated me, like Japanese, I was watching this documentary, and I did my last sculpture inspired by that. So they used to have, they still use, they get a lot of earthquake. Yeah. An earthquake like completely damage any building. Mm-hmm. What they did, and instead of like, okay, we only can make like building 1 or 2 like level, right. Let's do it the way normally, and put something in between and make it actually good when every time the earthquake happens, it adjusts and move with it. Yeah. So this is for me, like you have a structure, but you adjust it because there's something we cannot control. Mm-hmm. And I found this is so interesting and fascinating, and I made my sculpture looks like a building. There's a structure because we need a structure, yes. But we need also the structure and wherever the procedure and the rules to be adjusted to the situation.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
And I feel this is also part of me, like every time I go through something, it's fascinating me, feeling I address it, then I start to make a theme out of it. And I found like also using texture or color is, it can translate this kind of memory and the theme. This is how I feel. Yeah.
I like that you connected to sort of that Japanese piece, right? Because there's something I've learned in it. What is it? I'm gonna butcher some Japanese real quick. Ganbaru, which also is gabate. It's just sort of like you don't worry about luck. You just kind of do it. You kind of just do the thing, and if you've done what you needed to do, if you're prepared properly, luck's not even part of the equation. Yeah. And I use that in some ways to settle things down, like when I'm doing like a public speaking thing, or it's like, hey, we got you on stage and you're talking. It's like, ooh, and naturally, the impulse is, you look for evidence of what have I done before. And my inclination is, I've done terribly before. I've not, but I kind of lean into that. Like, it wasn't perfect. It's never going to be perfect. But it's like, did you prepare? Yes. Are you here? Yes, I'm right here at the time. And is this the thing that you should be doing? All of these different things. I start checking through these things. And that approach, coming from the sort of Japanese idea, I've applied that to doing interviews. I've applied that, like us being here right now. Sometimes I'll do an interview with someone. I'm like, they're going to hate me. This is going to go terribly. But it's learning something from, maybe taking something from those past experiences that may be success, or the fact that I did it.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, you've done a lot and you're still able to do it. You're still interested in doing it, and you didn't fail in such a way. So just kind of look at it from that perspective and just trust that you've done the right thing. And luck is not a part of this equation. And that's helped me a lot. So I think in looking at it through not purely adjusting, but that adaptation, like seeing something like, we know we have these earthquakes. We know that we can't have this 70-foot tall building. That's just not going to work under these circumstances. But let's really adapt and adjust and modify sort of our behavior or our policy or how we're going about things to accommodate for what's happening at this moment, not the past, not the future.
Exactly. And don't give up. Like, I feel being artists, we go through a lot of rejection, creative people, period. You go a lot of rejection, you go a lot of, like, it's hard. You compete with a lot of people in a very hard way. These days is way more difficult than back in the days. So you have to be very positive and resilient person. Otherwise, you might go through something really bad. And how to get and lift yourself out of that is like the imposing imperfection on us. That's why I insist to have a series imperfect, because talking to my nieces, how they're conscious about everything have to be perfect. Yeah. So like, sweetheart, nothing will be perfect.
It sets a precedent though, like this notion of speaking specifically on like perfection, right? If people live online, we're adults. When people live online, we're given this idea of everything is perfect. Like we have these pictures. It's like, man, that's not a blemish on my face. Wow, all of my grays are gone. This is amazing. Yeah. And that's not how real life is. But we set this idea that if it's not perfect, if it's not perfectly polished, then it's not worthy. It's not good. It doesn't work. And I've shared this before moving into this question about materials. Okay. Early on, so I have been doing this for like podcasting for like 17 years. And when I used to edit my podcast, right, I used to do all of the editing. I was doing 5 podcasts at a network. I was unemployed at the time, so I'll just give you that.
Maybe that's why.
And I used to go through and I would very meticulously go through and look for every gap that was too long and so on, and I would trim it out. Then I would listen to the edit. Sounds terrible. It's perfect, but it sounds terrible. It's no dead air. It sounds terrible. All the ums are gone. It sounds terrible. And the reason it sounded terrible, because it's no longer what it was. It's no longer a conversation. It's just a stream of words. And I was like, that's what I started thinking about perfection differently.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I feel there's a lot of beauty in perfection. Like, and we need to embrace this more. Like, I have this conversation with a friend yesterday, because I felt like, I would love to explore different city or country. If you want, what is better than here? So, this is wrong. Don't think about what is better for you. Maybe like on the paper, the place here is amazing, yeah, according to like, because I never heard that phrase before moving to America, the best of. Like, Americans are obsessed with the best of everything.
It's just SEO, purely SEO. It's like, yeah, the best, like, I don't know, bro.
I don't know, according to who?
Yeah, like, who wrote that?
Yeah. That's all, like, it can be, I can go somewhere, completely simple city, but it's best for me, Dina, now in that phase of my life. Yeah. Doesn't necessarily be the best in the whole world. So this is how you think about stuff. Don't think because you have to have all this stuff that make you happy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's what's happening at that moment. And, as I was touching on doing it as long as I have, my brother is like my biggest fan of the podcast, right? And he's almost like the historian of it. It's very weird. Like,
this is very nice.
He'll point out certain things. He's like, yeah, I remember in episode, that's the old podcast they used to do, like episode 90 of Mastermind Team's Robcast, you said this. I don't know if that's accurate. Let me fact check. I was like, hold the phone. And I look at it, right, doing sort of, in some ways, really like growing up. And, I started podcasting when I was 24. I'm 41 now. Yeah. So looking back at stuff that I was talking about or how I did stuff, I'm like, I hate this kid. I would look, I was like, wow, why was I into this? Or I would maybe value this, like, let's say if I'm talking pop culture, right? I would value maybe this movie in a different way. Like the thing I was saying about my dad and watching Double Impact. It's like, yeah, I would look at it maybe in a different way, and maybe my perspective would mature and change, and maybe I appreciate it in a different way than, let's say, at 24, I appreciated it for this quality. At 30, I appreciate it for this quality. And at 40, it's like I have a whole new perspective, new ideas, new experiences, such as talking with folks such as yourself. And that maybe informs how I look at it. And it's like, this is what's good for me right now.
Exactly.
As I over-explain that.
No, you explained it perfectly. Yeah.
So I want to talk about sourcing materials a bit. And you guys are my materials. This is the art that I'm making. The people are materials. This is not a weird taxidermy podcast, but I think about it in terms of curation. I think about it in terms of like why. So how are you sourcing materials? What are the considerations you're making when seeking out materials? Like, is it driven by availability? Is it driven by like curiosity? Because I know early on, right, when I was bringing on guests, I'm like, I wonder what a clown does. Like people who are like go to clown school, and it's like there's a performance aspect to it. I want to talk to someone about that because I'm curious. And other times it's like, all right, I remember I did a series of jazz interviews. It was here, Baltimore, and Philly.
Oh, okay.
And I was in each city. These were like in person. I was like, this is fire. But some people weren't available. So I had to maybe find replacements. And that's why I turned into, instead of 3 cities, I think I maybe added somebody from New Orleans. I ended up going down. And so it was initially driven by curiosity, then it eventually became partially motivated by availability.
Oh, okay.
So talk about that as it relates to how you're sourcing material. Is it like, I want to work with this material? Is it, I have this material available and I have a lot of this material available?
So interestingly, I start to think about what feeling or idea deserves this material.
Okay. Feelings. We're here.
So for me, sometimes you look at the material and okay, what does this make me feel? So the first texture I ever had was I was dealing with a big scar inside me, not a literal scar. It was something literally before the pandemic, like 2-3 years ago. And the healing process was difficult, and I feel like there's scar inside me, and I found when I look at stone and like a material like looks like a scar, then I feel like, this can be good representation of what I'm trying to do here. Yeah. And I started to became interestingly like that. Every material I look at it and it's kind of like, this reminds me of this kind of feeling or idea. Yeah. So plaster also starts with texture, and I found this can be like a scar. And I started to be thinking about it like that. And another time I found a banded shirt. In DC you can find crazy stuff when you walk around. Seriously, people get rid of weird stuff.
Here.
There we go.
I can do something with that.
Yeah, something really? Okay. Then became actually very interesting part of my process. So I walk around, I source some material like that. I go to my favorite places, Home Depot. You find crazy interesting material. And everyone very helpful over there. So it's really fun place to be. This is my happy place.
Home Depot.
Home Depot.
Not a plug.
No. Take me to Home Depot. I'm happy there.
That's good.
Yeah. So texture became and also I found a lot of texture carry memory. And I feel when you touch them, they carry your memory. And I feel when I look at them, I remember my status during that process when I created them. And the same thing when I grew up in Egypt, I feel because Alexandria was have a lot of history with Greek and a lot of British and French. Like I have a lot of like different culture. And also there's another old Alexandria underneath actual Alexandria. So you walk around and all this building and all this historical places, you touch it, people touch that before you. Yeah. And I found this is material that translates memory because when you're dealing with this material, you already have emotion, you're already touching it, and you give this to someone else or someone eventually will come and see it. So this is how I see the material. I source it from different places as much as I can. For me, when I look at it, they usually make me feel a very specific feeling. Then I feel like, okay, that feeling, the idea deserves this material. Then I start to do that.
So it's a feeling thing, it's an intuition thing that kind of comes along with it. And I'm going to move into this next piece, but I think how I relate to that is I went to an art show a couple months back in New York, and I had some friends up there who work in the sort of space, and they're like chiming in and they're saying their piece. They're like, "Oh man, art," and they're kind of like dragging it a little bit, and they're like, "Why are you seem so interested?" And I was like, "Well, I'm looking for the story. Do I feel something with this person, with their work? So if I see their work and I'm able to correspond with them, I'm like, I already see what the story is in my head. Like it hits in that way." And it's something like a knowing, a sort of intuition that comes from the perspective of what I'm doing. I'm not going to see it the same way as an artist, perhaps, that's going there. And they're like, I don't like that they, use that brush stroke, or why did they use that color? That canvas is a little loose. Whereas I'm looking at what is the full, in terms of a packaging way, what is the full thing? So, and I did this interview recently, and I'll share it with you after we finish here. But immediately when I saw sort of the story that was there, and the kicker was the person, the artist who I ended up interviewing recently, he just came over and just posted up next to me and just started telling me how he made that particular effect on there, just out of the blue. And I was like, I'm in the right spot right now. I was like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. It's like I felt it initially, I felt drawn to it, and then it just connected. I was like, we're already doing the podcast, bro.
I have one more thing. So
Please.
when material also, like sometimes I like when I have something like, I used to have like a big piece of rock and I break it. I love like breaking stuff and rebuilding again. It's just part of like how texture can give you this perspective. It's like rebuilding is, I found it like you build something, you destroy it and rebuild and you keep going and it's like became something beautiful again. Yeah. So this is give me some kind of excitement and power that I can fix that and I can make it something out of it. So it's also, this is why I love using material, not just paint.
We're going to get you on a path for, you've heard of kintsugi, right?
What?
Have you heard of kintsugi?
No.
So kintsugi is that traditional Japanese.
Like fixing with the gold.
Yes.
Yes, I know that.
So it's break this run down there. I'm in my gold era.
Yeah. So this is actually, that's why my first ever theory was called mend, compound mending. So I was break stuff and put it together again. And I found it very relaxing and fascinating.
Which is the theme of the next question, actually, as if you already have the question. So talk about men, talk about the Blue series as well, because I'm curious in sort of this idea of progression, doing sort of this iterative and incremental like work, exploring it in that way. I did that a little bit. So starting this podcast in 2019, so before the pandemic, and I had folks on like early on, and then I went through and I was like, 2025, I was like, I want to see where people are at now. Like, we're post-pandemic, we're in a different stage in their career, and everything is hustle and bustle. It's not Alexandria, but everything is moving very fast, especially with sort of like art. So seeing like what that progression looks like, and I'm like, I can't do this every year. I can't interview like, yeah, bro. So 2024, what are you doing? Okay, I'll come back to you in 2026. It's like still making the same work, bro. Yeah. Still working on that book I haven't finished. Yeah. So talk about what it means to work in this sort of iterative, progressive way when it comes to series and things of that sort.
When it comes to series, it's I usually I'm kind of person who work very small first, and I just go with very very small pieces. I call them prototype, and I don't think much. I let the unconscious part of my head lead the process and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to lose that part during being professional artist, that I cannot enjoy that something mean way more than life to me. So I want to still be able to show up for my art and enjoy it and love it. I don't want this professional and business and commercial take away that joy from me. So I even switch sometimes to do completely even different kind of art to keep the creativity juice going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it's I do small prototype first, and if I connect with a piece, I have to connect with the piece. If I'm not, I cannot create series out of it. So this is how I start. If I feel something and I look at it and put it on the wall for a couple of days, let it sink in. This is, we feeling that, we're not feeling that, I don't know, maybe the color, the texture, the shape and everything. Then if I like it, then I start to think about how to make it a series.
Okay.
So the series usually can go bigger, couple of pieces. Recently, the last year, I'm doing different approach. I do what I love and I don't care anymore. Doesn't have to be a series. And I have been called out that I'm not consistent, and because my pieces, my pieces, someone told me we cannot tell us by the same artist. I was like, I don't think so. They still have the same feeling and idea, but I feel I'm enjoying the process that now I am doing what I feel, and this is a process more. If I like it and I'm interested in it, I will create series of it, but not because I have to.
It's funny you said that. I was literally in this room. And I had this conversation. It was with the curator, and he was asking me so why do you pick the guests that you have on? And I was like, because they interest me. And he was just like, that sounds like you got a little bit of an ego. I was like, I have a huge ego. I have a giant ego, and I said it with a certain degree of stank on. You probably see my face doing a thing, and it did a thing when you mentioned it's just people I don't know if this is done by the same artist. It is. Moving on. What are we dwelling on? And I think it's a small-mindedness that's there and a packaging, and I think you explore whatever you're interested in because, like you touched on, it's giving you joy. You're going through that, but also it is. It's something that you have to do, that you want to do. And I think too often we have this sort of idea, it's not necessarily from people who are being critical, right? It's from people who are just chiming in, who have a take. But it's just I value critique, but I'm starting to find more critique of value from people who are quote unquote novices. It's are you actually interested in this? Is this actual feedback I can use, or is it just a take because you need to fill the dead air? And when people are making stuff and making work and they're getting something out of it, let them cook. Let them do what they're doing.
Yeah. To a certain degree, you still need to be in touch with what is working in the world, because if you still want to make a living out of it, this is the part that you still need to be in touch. But also, being free is very important for your creative progress. If you're not gonna be free and let yourself get to the peak and enjoy that at the point you don't care, you will never find your high potential, and you create stuff it's crazy and beautiful and it's amazing and catching people eye and make people feel all the feeling. You will never be able to get to that if you're very tied and obsessed with what is working, what people tell me, and listen to every critique. The only critique I will say is about yourself for yourself. Are you progressing from last year, from last week, and that's all? Everything else is noises.
Yeah, and I think if you're making something that comes from you, that as you're touching on with the sort of self-critique or that self-consideration, I find that people external of it are fickle. So it's I don't like this right now. It's just yeah, but it's I remember it was a couple years ago, it was just and I know it comes in waves, but it's we're looking at only creators of color. Okay, now we've moved on to something else. And we're in this sort of era of, is this AI slop or not? We're in that sort of spot right now. And I think the push I see from a marketing perspective or from a discourse perspective, all right, let's go into this almost brutal, real, or like brutal, this is authentic. We know this can't be this. And it's just like, it's just a wave. And it's just like, are people making stuff that they care about and it's potentially resonating and connecting? And you can continually make that because you don't run out of that if you have that as sort of the feeling and the motivation behind it. But if you're doing something that's to specifically hit a certain idea, I think that it falls short. And I'm thinking purely from sort of the lane that I'm in. Like, if I'm just like, yeah, I'm only going to talk to these artists in this way, then I run out of stuff eventually, because what if people aren't making work that I am curious to even talk to them about?
Exactly.
I'm limiting myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got three real questions left.
Okay.
And then we have the rapid fire, and then we have the sage advice. Rapid fire, it's going to be a doozy for you.
Okay.
So there's something about novelty in my work. I'm always looking to talk with new folks. Like, again, we're meeting. Well, we've talked before. Now it's IRL. And I could have those standard questions for like sort of each painter, and I prefer experimenting with the process. Let me switch this out. Let me try this. I wonder what they're into. I noticed in this one you painted this. Oh, you noticed that? I did.
Yeah.
It's like this guest I had on, a painter, artist I had, Terry Thompson. He had this quote I thought was really fire. He was just like, I like to contaminate my process. And I was like, I like that, bro. That sounds crazy. I like it. So you've been experimenting recently. So talk a bit about that. What is it like to just be in it, just be in that sort of experimental sort of like, stretch out a little bit?
I get very excited about trying anything new. Like, seriously, like I don't know where this is coming from, but it's if I have an idea, I want to experiment, sometimes I cannot even sleep because I'm excited. Next day I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna try, I'm gonna put my hand in. I love to get like my hand even dirty and trying and stuff, and I always call them beautiful mistakes. I found any mistake is actually beautiful and introduced me to completely new world. I never create. I have like days like I know just I'm gonna experiment the whole day, and I can spend like 11, 12 hours experimenting, and I don't even feel the time. And every time I'm trying to try something new, I discover something different. Then I go that route. Then I discover something else, and it keep going nonstop. And experimenting gave me excited because I feel I'm kind of person who doesn't like control at all. Like, I don't like rigid structure. I feel a lot of stuff needs some room to be free.
Sure.
Part of like even kids, they're way more creative than us because they don't understand the consequences of their behavior. And I feel sometimes it's very beautiful to get to that part of me that I'm not scared. I have been raised in a way that I have to be careful. Don't get into your emotion too much. Just move on. And I never even discovered myself till very late in my life. And this part makes me a little bit sad, but I'm happy at least I discovered. But it's part of me, like, I always want to be loose and free. And there is a lot of happiness and peace in that experiment part that I wish a lot of people can have that. I wish I can get everyone in my studio and be free and just experiment and enjoy that and see how it's going to affect you in your real life. Yeah. Because I feel sometimes you need a reset to be able to go back to this crazy life. And I feel when I experiment, this is my reset. This is my my therapy.
Yeah. I relate to that in coming to do this in this sort of personal sort of setup where, you know, sometimes I'm not really big on it because I think space is important, and it's just stuff that I've learned from the process of doing this podcast as long as I have. You know, I do a lot of them remotely, do a lot of them online or what have you, and it feels somewhat impersonal. And, you know, maybe there is a setup later that you get up and like, hey, you know, we established a bit of rapport, maybe we're friends or whatever. But the aim is trying to build something towards friendship, because the conversation, in my head at least, is not disposable. It's not like sort of false. But part of it is doing that in person gives me that extra layer that it just doesn't feel like it's work. Yeah. And one of the things you said earlier, you're talking about So stupid. You're talking about like me. I'm so stupid. You're not.
No.
Thinking about like just kids having that, young people having that, and I was gonna say like, yeah, we should give them deadlines. They need structure. They need more structure. Damn it. Where's that at? Where's that color pencil drawing? That's a cat? I don't think that's a cat.
Yeah.
What artist did this?
I only took 2 classes, art classes in my whole life. I am self-taught. Like I have a hard time follow the instructor, and I have to completely drive away from the instructor and do my own thing. And the instructors were kind enough and let me do it, but I don't. And come to creativity, I love the freedom. And when I started to get into this more professionally, I found all these rules and it bothered me. And who put that rules? And why we have all these rules? Creative people need more freedom and they need flexibility.
Yeah.
And I feel these 2 words is like really so different. But for me, experiment is just, give me a life. Yeah.
I think when we start looking at it as experimentation, or we start adding certain traits to it, it adds more quote unquote legitimacy to it in the way that people kind of frame legitimacy.
Yeah.
So like when I think of experiments, right, the first thing I think about is science. It's like, oh, we revere scientists. Well, I'm experimenting as well. Well, are you though? But you are. It is. It's a noble craft. It's a noble vocation, noble undertaking. But it doesn't get that regard that it should.
Well, funny fact is, the last time I did my sculpture, because I usually when I was very young, I used to do a lot of sculpture with clay. So this one was acrylic. I learned so much about acrylic and glue and math. You have to be very good with math if you want to build something.
Use that calculator.
And you need to be very good with science. Which kind of glue is glued to acrylic and filling. And so you as an artist, you learn a lot. And all this was like interesting. Oh, I'm reading about this. Oh, really? I didn't know that. And it's like part of me, like you learn something new every day.
Yeah.
And for me, I always kind of person like very I love that people who build and have the capability to build and create good thing for human beings more than consuming.
Yeah.
I'm into that really kind of person. Like I try to consume less and give more and build more.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to consume more.
Sure you do.
I'm just actively being contrarian, which is the name of my company. What is it? Contrarian Aquarian, yeah. So here's the last sort of real question that I have. It's a 2-part question.
Okay.
So go back a little bit about sort of, you know, that foundation that how did you end up in DCPs? Because it's a lot of places. You're like, I'm just not going to go to fake Alexandria. I'm going to go back to real Alexandria, but not fake Alexandria. But how did you end up in DC? And I'll just chime this in. The reason I became aware of your work was the Umbrella Art Fair DC like late last year. And talk about how did you end up here and the, I guess, importance of sort of the community or being in this sort of creative hub where so many different cultures are. Because I think DC is a creative hub, but it's like low key a little bit.
It is very low key. So let me start from the beginning. First, shout out to Peter for Umbrella and his partners for putting this together. It was a very good art show. I moved here because I always wanted to leave Egypt since I was young. I was like, I don't know why.
Get out of here.
Yeah, but I never felt that. It's not like I don't belong. Maybe I don't, and I still don't belong here too. It is either, but here I'm adjusting more, and there's more freedom that I didn't have back home. I always wanted to leave, but I was in Italy, and and I applied for school there. I love fashion, so I always I was like fascinated with shoes at that stage of my life, and I applied for a shoes designer school in Italy, and I got accepted. But my mom, very old school, she's like, no, you're too young to live abroad by yourself. Then she killed us, so it didn't happen. Then years happened that my sister, she married and moved to New Jersey. And she started to come to America. I said, let's try that. Then happened I moved, but I got accepted in Virginia Tech. I went for school.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I connect with other friends. I was able to move to Virginia, then I lived there for a long time. Then I moved to DC the last 4 years. I didn't choose. It chose me. This journey chose me more, and I think now I feel I understand why. Every person I met and every place I lived is have impact on me. I know you don't like that word.
It's funny.
But have like a fingerprint on me, and I became the person I am, and I think I'm still have work to do, but I feel like this is way better version if I stayed in Egypt. I don't know, maybe Europe would be interesting, I don't know. We still have the opportunity to try that, that's why. But I feel also I am lucky because to get into the art in DC is more gentle and nicer if I decide to do this in New York.
Right. Yeah.
Because I feel like at the beginning of my life, I really want to go to be graphic designer. I'm more like into and try to animation. When I was very young, I was very fascinated with cartoon, and I used to want to go work in Disney. But every phase of my life had changed. So, but anything like I feel DC was a very soft introduction to the art field, and I appreciate that. It was not harsh on me, and didn't push me to hold myself back. So, and there's. Of course, like it's very little bit difficult because I'm an immigrant too, to get into easily. But the moment you're resilient and you try to show up and you're there and you show your support and respect to others, eventually I actually get. This year I didn't apply for anything, and I got a lot of people calling me. We want you in the show, and we want you in other stuff. And I feel this is the hard work that I did for the last 7 years. So that's why I think DC might be not the perfect market for all kind of artists, but it's a very good introduction. That's why I'm gonna leave it at that.
It aligns with some of the stuff you touched on. It's like, yeah, this is good for me at this point, and this is kind of what works. And also kind of being around and not like overthinking it. You know, it's just like I'm here, I'm doing this, and because I'm doing this, I'm getting these calls and these people reaching out, and it's like, oh, you've done it. Yeah, we know you. We know of you. And so that's really great. That's, like I said, that's how I became aware of you, and I'm very fortunate to have become aware of you.
No, thank you. Like I appreciate that. When someone, one time I was in a group show, and I have like 2 pieces. And there's a lady, she came to me, I was like, oh my God, that person stole Dina's style. And I'm like, I found your name. I'm like, okay, I'm relaxed. This is very sweet that you recognize my style. That you mad at someone's.
I was going to take it off the wall.
Yeah. In Umbrella, there was another artist, and he came, by the way, Dina, I stole like at least 2 pieces from you. I was like, okay, I don't know, should we get mad or happy about that?
That's the thing.
Inspiration. It's an inspiration. Don't steal. It's an inspiration.
I've said it before. I was just like, look, you know, like you got to be influential to inspire, and for folks to steal. You got to be, you know, worthy of theft for people to steal.
Yeah.
So that's it for the real questions, and now for the main event portion. I've added 2, by the way, since this interview started.
What?
I've added 2.
You added 2? Oh wow! Okay.
So I have 4 rapid fire questions for you, and then we got the sage advice question. So it's like sort of be easy when it comes to the rapid fire.
Okay.
And then when the sage comes in, it gets goofy again.
Okay.
All right. So here's the first one, and with rapid fire, you don't want to overthink these. Whatever's the first thing that comes to mind, that's what we're going with. You don't want to overthink these questions.
Okay, I will try.
So here's the first one.
Okay.
If your current mood was a color, what color would it be?
Red.
See, look how quick you answered that. See?
Love red. I would never wear it, but I love it.
You're wearing black right now, so.
Yeah, I'm wearing, you know that.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah.
When you're in your studio space, your studio environment, like this is my studio environment today. The first thing I did was sweat.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. I did nothing to hear. What's the first thing you do when you hit the studio and you get into the studio environment?
Like artistic thing or just
whatever it is.
I have to drink something tea in the morning. This is the first thing. I like to write my thoughts first. One very short, sometimes it's one paper or short, a half paper, I have to write my thought because if I have myself crowding my brain, I cannot create. So I have to empty, like this is for me like completely discharge and get rid of all these thoughts, good or bad. I don't want noises. I want like that to be clear. Then I start to move on and I try to think about what color and what surface we're gonna use today.
I like that. I recently, from some of the stuff we talked about earlier, I recently got into a writing practice, and literally it is that sort of dump. It's similar to, I think I've heard from writers who are like, hey, I need to get out like a few pages to do this. One, regularly to exercise the muscle, but two, I need to get to the good stuff, so I need to get rid of the bad stuff first. Let's see. What do you listen to for inspiration?
Okay. I think my neighbor, he think I'm crazy because I listen to everything. I'm really, so the English song, I'm still in my 80s and 90s song. I don't know anything about it. Yeah, I don't know, like most of R&B and all this is like, is 80 and 90s, like an old school. Or sometimes I can go opera.
Yeah.
Beethoven and stuff like that, and I love it. And sometimes I go Arabian.
Okay.
And Arabian can be anything, like the more modern, whatever happening now, and there is a bad one, it's called Maharaganat, like don't listen to it, it's really bad. It's a new genre that actually Egyptian created. Oh. Literally. You know, at that time, someone create a new music genre is a big deal.
Yeah.
And even someone very popular in America stole one of their songs.
Well, as one does. As you talked about, you got to be worthy.
I'll send you some. Like it's loud, but it can make you like get in very happy mood. Yeah. And I'm also love Rai. Rai is more from Morocco and Tunisia, Algeria.
Okay.
And there's a guy called Chab Khaled. This is like my obsession. So technically, this is who I am.
I like this.
It's a mix.
I like this. I always have this running bit, like because this is so stupid, but because I fall into this pocket of being somewhat racially ambiguous, I'm like, yeah, my people. It's like, you're not Moroccan. No. I've been Moroccan, Dominican. I've been multiple things. No. I'm just standard black, but I play with that. It's funny.
No, it's beautiful. Like Moroccan, they have beautiful music. Algeria too, beautiful. Yeah.
This is the last one, and this one came up. This is the most recent one I wrote.
All right, okay.
This might be controversial for you.
Okay.
Favorite Disney cartoon?
Mickey Mouse.
You sold out that. You sold out on that one. You were like, Mickey Mouse. Yeah, that's a thing to say.
Honestly, it was Mickey Mouse for a long time. What else? Oh no, actually, my favorite was The Lion King.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. It's actually beautiful memory. It's more than the character itself. The movie's amazing itself. I watched it in movies here, and it was the last time I watched something with my parents both alive. So, and I was very young, and they say this is time I'm gonna spend with me only. I have like other two siblings, so it's very difficult when you're youngest to spend any time with your parent alone. Yeah. So they gave me that, an American, like, I remember that there was an American child behind me in Cairo theater, and he's crying. He's like, "Mommy, he's dying." Mom, he was adorable. It's like Simba. So I would say that was my favorite character was Simba. So I'll say that it was adorable.
That's fire. I mean, it's something about that era of Disney and so on. And I think once that era kind of went to the wayside, I think the last sort of real animated movie was probably Princess and the Frog. Yeah. And I always scene check people, and I asked them, I was like, what's your movie? And when I hear something, then like, all right, we're in the same age group. That means we're about the same age. And mine's was Aladdin. Like, I freaking love Aladdin. I was like, I know that there is some stuff going on in there that I can't really jam with. However,
be careful with that stuff.
You're not wrong. But it's probably that more so when I was, I think that was what, like maybe 93. So we had the game, we had the game. I was like, this is inappropriate. However, I remember watching it at school. We turned our auditorium into like a makeshift theater. So we had like a concession stand that was run by students. This was like elementary school.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a fire setup. This is really cool. It's like, we didn't have money growing up, so we would go to the movies, but very rare occasions. I was like, yo, we're having movies in school? I'm watching Aladdin versus going to math? I'll take this. I'll take the movie. Can we do the movie?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that. But Lion King is probably up there for me as well. I have a buddy, and he was just like, man, I can't watch Lion King anymore, man. He's just like, I kind of want Scar to win, which says a lot about who I am now. So it's good. It makes me laugh. It's like, oh, we all go to become villains.
Yeah, they tried to do like another version of it, and I tried to watch it with my youngest niece, and we're not feeling it. So no, you need to see the original one.
I like the Jungle Book one. They tried to go live. I like that, but there's no life in the eyes of the lions.
Yeah.
I was like, I like Donald Glover. Beyonce, you're fine.
Yeah.
What's up with these dead-eyed lions? I don't like it. I need some life in my lions.
Yeah.
All right, so let's reset. We go back into this last piece of business. This is the rapid. Well, we've done the rapid fire. How about do another round of rapid fire? You're like,
oh wow.
You get two. You'll be the first I ever got two. So this is sage advice. So this is sort of like a little bit of depth, but I think it definitely tackles something that I think a lot of artists and a lot of people listening to this encounter. So managing the responsibilities of multiple aspects of our lives can be hard. I have a day job. I do this podcast. I teach. I have other personal responsibilities. How do you balance the requirements of having a full-time career and a dedicated studio practice? And what does a sustainable life look like for you navigating and having this balance?
I would say different stage of life equivalent to different style of balance. When you're younger, you're very hungry and passionate, and you want to follow the books, and I have to be in the studio in this specific hours, and I have to do this, otherwise I'm a failure. And I used to talk to myself like that a lot at the beginning, and I'm searching how people balancing this, and I'm trying to copy other people, their balance, but they don't have my personality. They don't have they may be in different stage of their life. They may be older, younger, because believe it or not, age is a factor how you balance, because how you see life. Yeah. Also, what you go through in life affecting how you see balance. For me, I used to be the whole weekend I have to paint it, otherwise I'm so mad at myself. Now I don't. Now it's quality over quantity. It's I can be there when I feel like it, when I want to. It doesn't have to be in the morning, in the weekend. It can be an evening. It can be early morning before I go to my professional job. And if I want to create during that time, I would do it. If my soul needs to go to a museum on Sunday and take myself on a date, allow it, because this is the balance that I need to allow me to create and be inspired. If I need to meet a friend, and this is the time I dictated to my practice, but that friend, I might not be able to see them for a long time, take that chance. Yeah. This is my advice for me. The guidance is you have to see where you are in your life, and balancing, but don't follow other people advice. Guidance is versus advice. Yeah. This is what I say.
It's good. It's good. That's perfectly said. I got nothing else to add. I'm shutting my mouth up. So that's just great. And
thank you.
So it's two things I'd like to do as we close out here. One, I want to thank you for coming on and spending some time with me.
No, thank you. This is perfect. I love that.
And thank you. And secondly, I want to invite and encourage you to share with the listeners where they can check out your work, where they can follow you, anything that you got coming up. The floor is just shameless plugs. I like to let people plug.
Yeah, okay. I'm usually on Instagram. I have my website too. I update my website regularly more than Instagram. I'm not really on Instagram. I'm trying to be. That is Dina AZ Salem. And I'm gonna be Umbrella, the partner. They have another offer coming in August. Starts on the 26th all the way to the 30th, and it's only female artists in the area. It's called FEMA. So come see me. I'm gonna have some new work. I usually have bigs. This will be a mix of like different size, so I'll be happy to walk you through it. And also, my niece, she never been in America, she's gonna be with me, so come say hi to her too and introduce her to the culture.
That's fire. Yeah. And there you have it, folks. I want to again thank Dina AZ Salem for coming on to The Truth in His Art and spending some time with me today on site here at Hotel Eaton. It's a wonderful space to record, and it's always great to record in person. So for Dina, and again, thank you for sharing your story with us today. I am Rob Lee, saying that there's art, culture, and community in and around your neck of the woods. You just have to look for it.